So I want to walk you through the process of using this Festool SurFix finishing system. It has the 180 grit, 240 grit. It has the Scotch-Brite type pads. The green one is used to actually rub the oils into the tabletop after you apply it, and then the white one is used at the end after the second and or third coat to polish it. It comes with an outdoor oil, one-step oil, and a heavy-duty oil. I'm actually going to be finishing this tabletop with the heavy-duty oil, and I'm going to be, I actually brought this up to 150 so far using the Rotex. I'm going to use the ETS, the 6-inch sander, and I'm going to put the 180 on here. I'm actually going to bring it to 220. They say after 180 you might be closing up the pores of the wood, and the finish doesn't penetrate as much. I still like to bring it to 220. And then after that first application, you let it dry for about 8 hours. I'll let it dry for probably 24 hours. And then I'm going to sand it down with 240 and then apply it again, another coat, and then polish it out with the white pad. And we'll see how it goes from there. Maybe I'll add a third coat, maybe I won't, if I'm happy with the results of where it's at that point. The system does come with plenty of application pads. Like I said, it comes with the 3 types of oils, and it comes with the application. It's stuck in the can here because I've already used it. This is the vials of oil actually snap right onto here, and it has a nice storage can to lock it in. So we'll see how it goes, and watch the process.
So you want to keep in mind that these Festool SurFix application pads are really just for flat surfaces. It works the best on horizontal surfaces, right side up of course, and I have used it on vertical surfaces, but you also can just pop that container off the pad, use a rag as usual, and just apply it with a rag or put it in a can and use the brush as well.
So that really only took me about 5 minutes to get the first coat of oil on this table, and they recommend waiting about 15 minutes. And we're going to use the ETS sander, and we're going to work this oil right into the grain of the wood. See how it goes. Alright, so I've got the green Scotch-Brite pad on my ETS, and I'm going to work in the oil right into the surface of the tabletop. A couple things I will note is you don't need dust extraction for the sander. You're not extracting anything. You're actually just going to work the oil into the surface. And I would also recommend wearing an apron because the oil tends to splatter a little bit, and unless you don't care about your clothes, wear the apron. So I've waited about 20 hours, almost a day, since I put the last coat on this and wiped it down, and it is really impressive. It did a really nice job sealing in the grain. It's really smooth. There's no streak marks. It coated everything really well. So I'm going to do the next step, which is sanding it with 240, and then we're going to put another application of oil on it and polish it out. And if it looks good enough, I'm going to leave it for the final coat. So you will want dust extraction, even though it is 240, it's a polish coat, polish sand. You're going to want to put dust extraction. We are sanding out oil, so you will need to change out your paper. Make sure it doesn't get too clogged and leave swirl marks from whatever residue is on the paper. I still like to take some steel wool and rub it down one final time. It's a triple R extra fine steel wool, just to, so you know, you give it that extra edge of finish. So just before the final coat, I like to use an air nozzle, blow it off, a lint-free rag, wipe it down. Sometimes the tack cloths might leave contamination, and I've had issues with the finish, so I tend to just use a rag and an air nozzle and blow it off and make it real clean and put that final coat on, and you have great results every time. It does do a good job of taking off the dust, so don't feel like you need to use a tack cloth or some type of solvent. So as long as your application sponge is in pretty good shape, I don't see any reason why it can't be reused. After all, it's not the absolute final finish. It does get polished out again with the white pad, the polishing pad. And also, it's holding a lot of oil, so if you go to replace it every time, consider how much oil you're actually going to be throwing out. So that's another reason to reuse it.
Don't forget to shake it up real well. There's a lot of different kinds of oils and waxes in that container. When applying the oil, you could either squeeze it while you're actually applying the applicator onto the wood, or you can just squirt it onto the wood and go back and rub it on. It doesn't make much of a difference, whatever you feel more comfortable doing. When applying the oil, I kind of go at it haphazardly. I like to go in both directions of the grain, rubbing it in so I know that there's a really good application over the wood grain. And then what's really important at the end is start from one corner of the table and work your way continuously back and forth so you have a real even spread of the oil. You don't want to leave any puddles, because if you do, it's going to dry, it'll flash on you in certain different areas and leave a different sheen level, and that does not make the end product look very good. As a reminder, don't forget to put on those rubber gloves. A real important part of the process of finishing is taking some brand new wiping cloths, lint-free, and doing a consistent wiping job from one end of the table to the other, and run over it a couple of times. And this is done right after you do the polish sanding with the white pad supplied with the Festool SurFix kit. In the end, I did decide to put a third coat on about a week later, but I did not use the sandpaper. I scuffed it down with steel wool and followed the process as I showed previously.